Hello dear learners, today we are going to discuss few of the MCQs from pharmaceutical chemistry practical part. As we all know, the practicals are divided into four sections. First preliminary is the identification, first preliminary is the introduction part, then next is qualitative, systematic qualitative analysis, then identification test and synthesis. So today we are on identification test part from the practical, wherein you are supposed to perform 5 to 6 samples for the identification test on different organic compounds. So to start with part 3 from the identification test, wherein earlier part 2 parts we have covered few of the MCQs regarding the significance, the skills required for the identification test, solubility chart we have discussed in brief. So all these questions in first earlier 2 parts we have studied, and now to start with part 3, the first question from part 3 is, the question is, identify the given structure. So as you all know, in laboratory we perform different identification tests, which are some of which are spectroscopic technique like IR is used, or some of them are color reactions or precipitation reactions. So to along with this performing the test, we also study various organic compound structures, their category, dosage form, brands, etc. So here to start with the structures, the given structure, whether it is of aspirin, whether paracetamol, whether prochlorperazine maleate or quinine sulfate, the correct answer is, it is prochlorperazine maleate. Now how it is, how you will identify that it is prochlorperazine maleate? The very first is the malic acid, okay, the maleate salt. Then how you will remember prochlorperazine? Now this is prochlorperazine maleate. So how it is? Pro stands for propyl, chlor stands for chlorine, para stands for piperazine, and PTZ is phenothiazine. Okay, so prochlorperazine, which contains phenothiazine heterocycle along with the piperazine. Okay, so this one is nothing but prochlorperazine maleate. For this you are supposed to go through briefly to our previous videos on the heterocyclic compounds, nomenclature, classification and numbering rule. Along with that, some MCQs from heterocyclic compounds, wherein you will become familiar with these heterocycles. Next question is, identify the test is applicable to which of the given compound? The test is you are supposed to take drug and you are supposed to treat it with NaOH and H2SO4. After treating it with NaOH and H2SO4, a precipitate will be formed which will give the odor of acetic acid, and the precipitate obtained is treated with the FeCl3 solution, which will give deep violet color. So with this test, whether this test is applicable for aspirin, paracetamol, prochlorperazine maleate or quinine sulfate, the correct answer is, it is aspirin. Now how it is, why it forms a violet color with FeCl3 and why the precipitate is treated, what happens with the filtrate, all the things we are going to cover in reaction theory. So to start with the answer explanation, herein you can see the test which we have seen, that drug is treated with NaOH and H2SO4, a precipitate is formed and the filtrate. When you will filter this and the precipitate is treated with FeCl3, it will give the violet color as you can see here. Okay. So how this violet color is produced actually? What is the reason behind production of violet color? The reason is the FeCl3, when this is generally for the conformation of phenol. So FeCl3, when phenol is treated with, means FeCl3 is treated with means phenol and FeCl3 reaction will take place, then at that time this ferric will form complex with phenol. So how it is, like this one is, you can see HCl separates out and this is phenoxide. Okay, so ferric phenoxide complex is formed which is violet in color. So as we all know, the salicylic acid contains phenol, so this test will be given positive by aspirin since it contains salicylic acid which contains phenol. So how it will give the test positive? Why it is treated with NaOH and H2SO4? So as you can see here, this acetyl salicylic acid, when it is hydrolyzed, it will get converted to salicylic acid and acetic acid. Okay, so this salicylic acid, which we all know, it contains phenol. So this phenol, when further treated with ferric chloride, this ferric forms complex with phenol, and this ferric phenoxide complex is formed which is violet in color, and this positive test will indicate or will confirm the presence of aspirin. Next question is, name the functional groups present in aspirin. Whether it contains ester, benzene ring, carboxylic acid, whether it contains ester, benzene ring, carboxylic acid and ketone, whether it contains ester, benzene, carboxylic acid and ether, or it contains ester, acid and ketone. The correct answer is, it is ester, benzene ring and carboxylic acid. So as you can see here, this one is ester, like R, C double bond O, O, R. So this one is ester, this is benzene ring, okay, is here, and this one is carboxylic acid, C double bond O, O, H. Okay, so these are the groups present in the aspirin. Next question is, brand names of aspirin include dash. Whether Ecotrine, Disprin, Ecosprin or all of them. The correct answer is, it is all of them. Brands of aspirin, all are the brands of aspirin which are mentioned here, and there are many more brands. More than 50 brands are available in the market of that of aspirin. Different brands and different manufacturers. The major amongst them are Ecotrine, Disprin, Ecosprin and all. Disprin, okay, aspirin, Ecotrine, Ecosprin, these are the brands, famous brands. Next question is, Ecosprin brand contains which of the given drug? Whether it contains aspirin, paracetamol, prochlorperazine maleate or quinine sulfate. The correct answer is, it is aspirin. Ecosprin contains aspirin. Okay. Next question is, amongst the given is not a brand name of aspirin, whether Ecotrine, Disprin, Ecosprin or Crocin. The correct answer is, it is Crocin, because Crocin contains paracetamol which exists in tablets, syrup, okay, etc. dosage forms. Next question is, dosage forms of aspirin are dash. Whether it exists in capsule, tablet, suppositories or all of them. The correct answer is, it is all of them. Dosage forms of aspirin include oral dosage forms such as tablets and capsules, which tablets can be like chewable, entry coated and all, wherein capsules can be extended release capsules also, and suppositories. So all these are the dosage forms of aspirin: capsules, suppositories and tablets. Next question is, aspirin can be administered through dash routes. Whether it is through oral, intravenous, rectal or all of them. The correct answer is, it is all of them. Aspirin can be administered orally in the tablets and capsules form, okay, rectally in the suppositories form, and as intravenous infusion, wherein the intravenous infusion, it can be administered aspirin. So the correct answer is, it is all of them. Next question is, aspirin does not exist in dash dosage form. Whether it is tablet, capsule, modified oral dosage forms or elixirs. The correct answer is it is elixirs. It exists in various tablets like chewable, entry coated tablets. It exists in capsule form, various extended release, and it exists in modified oral dosage forms such as prolonged release, okay, extended release capsules we have seen. So this the modified dosage forms, and it does not exist in the form of elixir since the elixirs are alcoholic or hydroalcoholic preparations. So aspirin gets degraded as you have seen in the reaction earlier, that aspirin hydrolysis causes aspirin to split up into salicylic acid and acetic acid, and this salicylic acid when further treated with alcohol and H2SO4, it forms the ester, that is methyl salicylate. So this degradation takes place, this reaction takes place, because of which it is not stable in the elixir dosage form since it is alcoholic or hydroalcoholic preparation, and this hydrolysis and alcohol are responsible for breakdown of aspirin. Next question is, aspirin is commonly also known as dash, whether it is para-amino salicylic acid, acetyl salicylic acid, 2-acetoxysalicylic acid, or none of them. The correct answer is it is acetyl salicylic acid. Aspirin is commonly known by the name acetyl salicylic acid. Now why it is so? Why it is acetyl salicylic acid? Because if you will look into the structure wherein I have highlighted, this is salicylic acid and this is acetyl group. Okay. COCH3 is nothing but acetyl group. So when the hydrogen, see this one is salicylic acid, when this hydrogen, here you can see it is replaced with acetyl group, it becomes a acetyl derivative of salicylic acid. मतलब salicylic acid का acetyl derivative is acetyl salicylic acid, which is nothing but aspirin. So it is commonly known as acetyl salicylic acid. Next question is, identify the test which is applicable to which of the given compound. Now here the same test is there, H2SO4 and sulfuric acid, wherein you are supposed to treat, and whatever the precipitate and filtrate is obtained, the filtrate obtained here now is treated with alcohol and H2SO4, the odor of ethyl acetate is produced. So this test, here filtrate is there in picture, earlier the precipitate was there in picture. So whether it is positive for aspirin, paracetamol, prochlorperazine maleate or quinine sulfate, the correct answer is it is aspirin again, because you have seen this reaction that alcohol and sulfuric acid, see this is acid, alcohol in presence of H2SO4, it forms the ester. Okay, so this is esterification reaction which we have studied earlier also in your 11-12 standard. So this aspirin gives the test positive, that it produces ester, so the odor of ethyl acetate is produced. With this we finish with few of the MCQs from part 3 identification test. Stay tuned with us for the further parts on the identification test, wherein we are going to see few more MCQs about other samples also. Thank you.